On, Brian?
I'm not too much. How you doing today, Kevin?
Can't complain. We also have a special guest, Advi Martinez, is somebody who I grew up with. But yeah, for today's topic, I kind of wanted to talk about the cult of get rich quick, which, there seems to be a lot of that in America. So, for example, what I mean by that is like these different entities, they try to sell you a dream that, oh, yeah, if you just do this, you'll be a millionaire in a year, like things of that nature.
Yeah, like stuff like Primerica.
Yeah, something like that. Like I actually was introduced to that in college, and I went to like a meeting or two, and I kind of, just looking at it, I eventually figured out like it's not for me. Did you have any experiences with Primerica?
Yeah, so when I was 18, I'm a drummer. I was taking drum lessons from this one older guy, and he was like, one day he's just like, oh, what if I could show you a way to make $800 in 2 hours? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm 18 years old. That sounds pretty good to me. So I started going to meetings with him, and then I ended up getting my life insurance license, getting my Series 6 and 63 broker licenses. And I was like all good to go with the licenses, but I learned nothing about marketing. They really didn't teach you marketing. All they taught you was like how to bring in your friends and family into the business. And so, like, you bring in new people, you go through their friends and family, and then you go on to the next new person. So they just churn through people, basically.
Yeah, what's so crazy about that is they seem to use the same script. Like I remember them always saying, "Oh, what if I could teach you how to do this?" Like, "Oh, what if I could show you a
Yeah.
way to be a millionaire?" Like,
Yeah. What if it always starts like that. What if I could show you X?
right.
Hello,
And if you really like
Bard.
think about it, it's kind of like, if you could show me how to make a million, then how why are you still working at your job?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like okay, I could show you how to make $2 million, but I'm still a school teacher or a garbage man or even a programmer or whatever. That doesn't make any sense. Like out.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. Like when I was 18, so this guy's like probably in his 40s or early 50s. He's teaching drum lessons, and it's like, okay, if he could show me a way to make $800 in 2 hours, why is he still teaching drummers?
Exactly. You would just lean completely into that because it's making you so much money you could retire. So, you know,
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you could, like, I mean, tell me something you could make $800 in 2 hours doing that's legal. Like, I can't
right,
really think of, like, a lawyer probably gets paid that.
right, and when you look at the numbers, it doesn't add up. Like, how many life insurance policies or whatever do you have to sell to be able to make that amount?
I'm not sure, but probably a lot. And you probably have to sell a lot of mutual funds too.
Yeah, I think those are like the person's peak numbers from like one time thing because ain't no way they're selling that amount every single day. And like you have to constantly be fielding for new prospects. You gotta, you know, get people to give their family members up, things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's just the thing with these multi-level marketing companies. It's always about the warm network of the new guy that you're bringing in. Their friends, their family. Like they'll give you a sheet of paper and they're like, okay, write down 10 family members or 10 friends that you could share this opportunity with. And so it's not even just you're going to try to sell them insurance and mutual funds. You're also going to try to get them in the business.
Right.
That's the second part of it.
Exactly. And you get a cut of what they make. So whoever gets in first, they're the one that gets all the money because they've already contacted all the cold prospects or the prospects in the area. They're getting a chunk of your money. They're getting a chunk of the money of the people under you. It's like a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I mean, basically, multi-level marketing is a legal pyramid scheme because there
Right,
is a pyramid scheme that on its own has no product. It's just
right,
money. So, but a multi-level marketing company, they use the pyramid structure, but they have a product that they're selling. Like with Primerica, it's life insurance and mutual funds. Or
right.
like with, we could talk about Amway. Amway has, what did they have?
Was that the one with the vitamin products and all of that, or was that a different company?
I think Amway, they had like health, beauty, home care products.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah,
not too.
Amway. Talk about Amway. If you look online, they're listed as the number one largest multi-level marketing company in the world in terms of revenue.
Oh wow. But I don't know anybody that's gotten rich off of Amway or anybody. You know what I mean? So
Well, exactly. That's the thing. Like, let me look up some stats on it. Let's see, Amway. Okay, the top 1% make 80,000 a year, but that's the top 1%. So if you're
right,
anywhere like in the middle or the bottom, you'll be lucky to make $200 a month. So with Amway, we're looking at $200 a month income. It's not really a get rich quick scheme, is it?
right. But they sell it to you like you're gonna be making all of this money. They get you through all the motivational seminars. You know, they get you hyped up, get your contacts. You know, and then just throw you out there. And like if you don't succeed, it's because, oh yeah, you didn't try hard enough. But you know,
Yeah, no, it's
really,
always like, oh, just, when I was in Primerica, they were just always like, bring people to meetings, bring more people to meetings. It was all about bringing people to meetings.
right, exactly. And so there's a lot of different things like this. Now I think the new hustle is more like, okay, the course hustle, like people teaching you, like, oh, I could teach you how to get rich. Well, what is it, like day trading and stuff like that?
Yeah, like penny stocks, people day
Right.
trading penny stocks. Oh, yeah, like I could show you how to become a millionaire in 6 months or some BS like that.
Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Because if I had the formula to make millions of dollars, I'm not telling anybody. I'm gonna just use it to make millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because if it's something that works for you and you share it with someone else, now they're your direct competition.
Right. Yeah. You're not gonna be making nearly as much because they're eating into that same pie.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, Kevin. Exactly.
but the basis of these kind of schemes is always like getting around the real root of success, which is like hard work, discipline. You can't short circuit the process.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's always, any successful business, there's a lot of groundwork. There's a lot of work you got to put in on the ground level to get things going. You're not just gonna, this idea of get rich quick, oh, just bring a bunch of people to meetings and you'll get rich. It's just not realistic. And so it's like people are sold a lie in these MLM companies.
Right. And, they know how to psychologically manipulate people to make it seem like, oh yeah, it's because you didn't put in enough effort. But realistically, like there's only so many people to go around who's gonna buy life insurance. So if I'm the first comer to an area, now I've already contacted everybody in that proximity, it's gonna be hard for you to get any sales because I've already attempted to sell them that life insurance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the whole problem. It's like those who get in really early with these companies, like Amway or Herbalife. they're the ones who are making all the money. They bring in they call them downlines. They bring in all these new people, and then they're making money off of all of those people. And that's kind of where you start to get into the pyramid structure, where it's like I make money off of person A, but then person A brings, person X, Y, and Z in. So not only do I get a cut of person A's income, I get a cut of X, Y, and Z's income too. And then when X, Y, and Z bring in another three people, you're then getting a cut of that too. So you could see how like that pyramid structure starts to build itself out, and how if you're early enough in the company, you can actually make a pretty good amount of money.
Yeah, exactly. The person who comes in initially, they get all the fresh contacts from the new people who join, and they've also already scoped the area out, and they're the first contact of potential clients. So,
Because the area gets saturated, like
exactly.
you're working the same areas as your competition, and then it's like, yeah, if you get in early, you're just going through your new people, going through their friends and family, all in the same area. So like months go by, years go by, the whole area is tapped out. Like you said, there's only so many people that are going to buy life insurance.
Right, exactly. So, like, what do you do once all of the clients have been tapped out? Like, there's nothing to do. Then that's when all the people at the bottom drop out. And then, okay, let me find some new people to join, and I'm gonna grab their warm contacts.
Yeah, and no, it just really what I saw in Primerica. It's just like, okay, bring people to meetings, bring people to meetings, and then you bring the people to a meeting, and then they're asked to write down on a sheet of paper like 10 friends or 10 family members who could benefit from the product, and not just that, 10 friends or family members who will come to the meeting, because then you're going to get their warm contacts as well. And then so it goes on from there.
Yep, that's how it is, man. That's the code of get rich quick. Now they got other forms of it now, like mentioned, kind of like the course hustle, like or ebook hustle. I don't even have to. It doesn't even have to have like really good information. Just as long as I get you to pay like $8.99 to get the 10 secrets of being successful. As long as I got your
Right.
money, it's too late.
I mean, what do you think is most cultish or cult like about these companies?
Uh, Well, the one I'm most familiar with is like Primerica, because that's the one I've been approached with. But they all seem to operate in pretty much like the same fashion as like a big self help layer wrapped around like being a financial product salesman, or maybe you're selling vitamins or something. But they all got the like Tony Robbins, you can do it type of motivational speeches. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah, they feed you all that, positive thinking stuff. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. They tell you to read that book, which it's not a bad book, but yeah, they
Right.
push self. They really push the self help stuff in these MLMs.
And I think, do some of those books have some legitimate advice? Yeah, I mean, I used to read a ton of them. I have a ton of those kind of books because when I was young, I wanted to know the secrets of success and all of that. But the more I started reading them and just living life, it's like this is there's no magic formula. Like you have to work hard
That's the
and
thing. Yeah, any business that's successful, there's someone who put in, the work, the elbow grease, the hours. It's a lot of hard work that goes into growing a successful business. Like growing up, I saw my dad. He had his own business. He did carpets and window cleaning, mostly for rich people in Connecticut. Because
right,
I mean, I grew up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is more like a working class city. But Connecticut has some really, really rich areas, like in Fairfield County, places like Fairfield, Westport, Weston, Greenwich. So he had clients more over in that area. But like I saw him build his business from the ground up. he had his own newsletter who he would send the clients every year. He'd make like crossword puzzles and stuff like that on the newsletter to make it kind of fun and all that. But I
Right.
saw his hustle from a young age. I saw his hustle because he was just himself. He worked for himself. Sometimes he'd bring on a worker for some bigger jobs, but usually no one would really stick around for too long. So it was mainly just his own business. But I saw that grit. I saw that hustle in him from a
Yeah,
young age.
exactly.
You got to put in a lot of work to make any kind of money. You got to put in a lot of work. There's no handouts. There's no free lunch. You know what I mean?
Right, right. What they call it is snake oil. Like they're selling the snake oil to lazy people who want to be rich. Like, or if you just imagine and picture it in your mind, then it's gonna come to you. No, you need to go out and do whatever work it is. Like whether that's reach out to people to find clients and contacts, create your website, procure your products, like network, like that requires legwork, but it's hard to sell. It's hard to make a hard work sexy. Like, hey, you need to hustle. Like, but that's the quote unquote secret. But you can't sell that because people don't want to work.
That's the thing. And like you said, these get rich quick schemes now, a lot of them are like day trading schemes where it's like, oh, buy this penny stock that's like highly rated and you'll make like thousands of dollars in 1 week or something like that. And then the thing is, like, I tried day trading for a little bit. I put $1,000 into an account, started buying penny stocks and stuff like that, or like really cheap stocks. Um, but eventually I just started losing money, and then before I knew it, that $1,000 was gone. And then at that point, I realized, well, day trading is just gambling.
Yeah, exactly. At the heart of all of this stuff is pump and dump. Like they hype something up, get people to jump aboard, and then once there's enough people, they take the money out, and the person who exits last is the one who's left holding the bag.
Exactly. Like there's these chat rooms for like day trading, and what I noticed about them is that, okay, the main guy, the leader who's running the meeting, he tells you, okay, go buy stock X. So then all these people are buying stock X, but guess who's selling it to them? That
Right.
that leader guy. He's already bought the shares. He already has it, and now everyone else in the chat room is buying it. So the price is going up. The price is going up, and now he's selling it to you. But then by the time you get it, the price has already gone back down, and now so like the leader takes his winnings out, but then you get, like you said, you get left holding the bag.
Exactly. Like it takes time to produce real value. Like you can't just plant a seed and then tomorrow you have this big fruit tree. It takes time and effort. So, that's like anything with real success. Like if I want to be a good programmer, it's not going to take 10 days. It's going to take years of reading books, practicing, etc. But, somebody who wants to get rich quick, they're not interested in that. You can't sell them the truth because it's a bitter pill to them. So, you know,
Yeah, and, now that you mentioned programming, like it makes me think when I got into programming, why did I get into programming? Well, I had some interest when I was younger. I used to do stuff like create websites in Dreamweaver, Microsoft Front Page, a little bit of Flash. So I had some computer background, but mainly I wanted to get into programming because of the money. You'd read like, oh, you could be an entry level front end developer and you can make 75K your first year. So it sounds pretty lucrative. And that got me to try one of these boot camps out. And I was there for a year and I found it really, really difficult. So like I thought, oh, this is gonna be easy. I just, learn this stuff and start building apps and I'll be making all this money. But it took years to learn this stuff and it took years to actually get hired on my first front end developer job with React.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like something that just quickly happened. I would say like programming boot camps. I don't feel like they're not scams, but it is a pump and dump in that okay, the market needs programmers, so let's hurry up and capitalize and get all these people, and then say they can get these amazing jobs. And some people were like if they got in early, but once the market gets saturated, then there's no jobs to dump all these new boot camp graduates into, and you just
That's
got
the thing. It's just like same thing with the multi-level marketing, like we're talking about. Okay, someone starts out in an area and they're the only one in that area, and now they're bringing in warm leads from family members, friends. You start to build out that area, and before you know it, it's already saturated. So, like with these coding boot camps, yeah, probably when they started in like I don't know 2015 or 2017 when they were like really popular, it was probably easy to get an entry level job in programming. But by the time that I graduated, I forget what year it was. It was around COVID time. I graduated and there was really no entry level jobs. Like, and if you were going to get an entry level job, they wanted you to at minimum have worked at an internship somewhere. So it was not get rich quick and it was not even get rich slow. It's like if you put in enough effort and you get enough internships, maybe you can get a job in programming. But it's a big
right,
maybe. It's a maybe.
exactly. So there was no get rich quick there. It was what we say before, hard tons of hard work, networking, applying, project. Like
Yeah, fill your GitHub with projects. Like I felt kind of cheated the school I went to because they taught me Java Spring, so more so like back end. We did some SQL as well. And the thing is, when I graduated from the course, when I got my certificate, the instructor tells me, he's like, oh, well, you could get a job doing Java, but they're more so looking for, like mid-level and senior developers for Java. If you want to get an entry-level job, you're probably going to have to learn JavaScript and learn React and Angular. So then I'm just, I feel cheated. It's like I just spent the last year learning Java. Now you're telling me I got to go out and learn JavaScript, it sounds similar, but it's a totally different language.
yeah, that's the thing. Like they don't tell you the fact that hey, this isn't what you think it is until after you already paid for it. It's like we got your money, but hey, now we can tell you the truth.
Yeah, it's like, okay, $10,000 down the drain. And now it's like, oh, wait a second. There's stuff like Free Code Camp, Khan Academy. So you could learn like all the stuff I learned in my boot camp, I could have learned for free on YouTube. I didn't do enough research before I joined the boot camp to realize, oh, this information's actually already out there. You can clone GitHub repos or projects and, on and on and on and on, but you just, in the beginning, you don't know this stuff. You're looking at boot camps, you're sold on the dream, like, oh, everyone should become a programmer. But it's just kind of a scam. In a way, it's a scam because they're telling you are going to get rich quick, but it's a lot of work. Like it took me 2 years before I got my first programming job.
Yeah, that's the experience a lot of people have had. It takes way longer than they expect, and I do remember the rhetoric: everybody needs to be a coder, they need to learn coding. But I try to tell people everybody doesn't need to learn this stuff. You need to have a love for it, because once it becomes saturated, then it's going to become incredibly difficult to get in, and if you don't love it, you're not going to be able to compete.
Exactly. I mean, like I was sold on a dream, like, oh, learn programming and then make six figures. And while yes, that is possible, there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done. There's a lot of grunt work. There's a lot of hours that have to be put in to learning these languages, learning these libraries, learning these frameworks. It's a lot of time that you need to invest into this stuff. And then, I mean, for me, I got my first programming job. There was no mentorship. there was no training. Like I get in there, I'm like, where's the training? And they're like, oh, we're not really a company that's set up to train people. You kind of just have to hit the ground running, as they always say. And I struggled. I was hired as a React developer, and I didn't really know that much React. I only done maybe like 2 projects in React up until this point. And so they get me set up with their code base, and then I'm in there, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we need you to build out these features." And I really just had no idea where to begin, where to even start on it. And so I was like, I can't do this. I need training. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna have you switch over to Figma. And I'm like, Figma, you hire me as a React developer. Shouldn't I be doing that? And it didn't work out. I was there for 2 weeks and then I quit. It was so stressful.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like that once they get your money, they've already sold you the dream. So they got your money. They don't need to really deliver past that. Like then they're gonna shift it to you. Like, oh, you didn't try hard enough, or you know, you
Oh
didn't do
yeah.
X, Y, and Z.
And there was this guy who was kind of like a recruiter, or he sounded like a recruiter when you talked to him on the phone. He's like the career guidance counselor for the group. So you would get on a call with him once a week and you talk about your job search, what's working, what's not working. And, it always just be like, well, like, I was told that there's jobs in programming, that like, there's a market for programming, but I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing everything like mid-level, senior. So you just start to realize, oh, yeah, there's a lot of programming jobs, but they're certainly not entry level.
Right. They're more so for seniors or mid level. Like you say, people can hit the ground running. But
Exactly. Yeah, that's always the saying, hit the ground running, which it's funny because if you ever tried to jump out of a car, you're not going to hit the ground running. You're going to bust your ass, you know what I mean?
exactly. And that's why, like junior programmers a lot of times, unless, like Logan mentioned in a previous episode, you need to have started years ago dabbling with programming, building projects, pretty much coming in as a mid-level developer, somebody who knows how to program, but they may not know like GitHub or not GitHub, but like, the Jira and all that other stuff, like the stuff surrounding programming, but you need to be able to come in and know how
Right.
to program.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that's what's not really talked about. You get sold the dream by these boot camps and you graduate and then you hit the market and you're like, oh, wow, like most of these jobs are for seniors, not for juniors.
Yeah, and then you're in a position where it's like unless you're lucky to have a mentor that says, hey, you need to focus on this, you need to reach out to this person, I'm gonna put in a good word for you. Like you're pretty much screwed unless you just have this unbelievable amount of hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess I was at least lucky that my instructor told me, like, straight up, like, hey, you could try to get a job with Java or Java Spring, whatever, but most of those jobs are mid-level to senior. So if you want to get an entry-level job, you're going to need to learn JavaScript, go out and learn React, go out and learn Angular. So that's exactly what I did. And then the internship I had, we were doing React and Tailwind CSS. And then in the job, the first programming job I had, we were doing React and vanilla CSS.
Right. Yeah, I think I came in like at the sweet spot. Like Angular 2 was just coming out. A lot of companies were starting new projects. They were really hungry for new developers. So there was like more leeway for me to learn and to be able to get in. But it still took me a while to get my first job. Like it wasn't just like I just walked in the door.
Sure. And what year did you graduate, or what year did you start?
Let me think. I've been in the industry. I think like 2016 was when I got my first job. Around then, uh, either late 2015 or early 2016, something around there. But I didn't go to boot camp. I was just self-taught, like going through books, courses, just pretty much teaching myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Were you like I took a couple of Udemy courses on React and Angular. Is that what you did?
So yeah, React wasn't out when I was coming in the industry. It was like Angular 1, and then Angular 2 was in beta. They had like that Knockout JS, stuff like that. So yeah, in order to teach myself that, pretty much the stuff like watching tutorials, going through books. But yeah, what really helped me was, man, like if there's a project, you go through, you recreate the whole project. Like you type everything in file by file, and then you kind of learn like, okay, I know what this is, I don't know what that is. So if you don't know something, then you go look it up. You know what I mean? And then you start getting a cohesive picture of what it takes to build a whole application.
Right, right.
Like if you're just
And I
doing a
guess
tutorial or reading a book, it's going to be hard. You know what I mean?
yeah, to get back to the multi-level marketing companies, one we didn't mention that's one of the big ones is Herbalife. So they're an American multinational multi-level marketing corp, and that they develop and sell dietary supplements. But what's interesting here is the company's been alleged to have fraudulently operated a pyramid scheme. Some products sold by Herbalife have caused acute hepatitis, and
Wow.
the business is incorporated in the Cayman Islands, a tax haven, with its corporate headquarters located in Los Angeles. So it's you see that these companies they're kind of sketchy. Like
Yeah.
Herbalife, the guy, okay, this guy Mark R. Hughes. He started it in February in 1980, and he started selling the original Herbalife weight management products out of the trunk of his car. And so they ran into trouble. So they came out in 1980. They ran into trouble in 1984 for misleading medical claims and advertisements. So the Department of Justice of Canada filed those criminal charges against them. That was in November of 1984. But then, Herbalife was considered the fastest growing private company in America. So it's interesting. You have a lot of these MLMs getting sued. Like that same year, California Attorney General sued Herbalife for making inflated claims about the efficacy of its products. So we see there's a theme here of MLMs being sued and settling for millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean they all operate on greed and laziness. Like if they see, oh, this person wants to get rich, and but they don't have the work ethic, we're gonna sell them a dream. Like, oh, if you buy this quick course or you learn these secret techniques, you too can become a millionaire in 6 months. And once they get your money, they got it. Like there's so many things that operate on that principle. But if you realize like real success takes hard work, it takes time. Hopefully you can find a good mentor network of people to steer you away from the fake stuff, then you're going to be much better off. But if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, and to go back to Primerica, so I was 18 when I got into Primerica. I think the youngest you can get into it is 18. So I started at 18. I was there for a whole year, and I think I made like $50. I sold like there was this other program called, I don't know if you ever heard of it, it's called prepaid legal. So we were
Yeah,
selling
yeah.
prepaid legal plans as well. And I sold one to my parents, and I made like $50 off the sale. But that was the only sale I ever had in a whole year, because I never, being 18, I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about how do you get in front of the right clients. but more so, who's going to trust an 18-year-old kid with their finances, with their
Right.
insurance, with their mutual funds? Who's looking to an 18-year-old to tell them, show them the ropes? No one's looking for that. So I think I had a really bad experience with them. But and that's the thing. Like they make it seem like, oh, you're not successful because you're not putting in the work. You're not bringing enough people to meetings. You're not calling enough friends and family. And so they use that same guilt trip on everyone.
Yeah, I think with me, I kind of realize it when they're presenting the opportunity to everybody. Like, oh, they're walking up to a guy on the sidewalk. Hey, man, you want to come to this meeting? You know what I mean? Like, if you have a really prestigious company, you're gonna vet who you bring onto your team. You're not gonna just bring anybody, especially if you don't know their credentials. So, they don't know
Exactly.
you.
It's not like you're gonna walk outside and the garbage guy's coming to pick up the trash. You're not gonna say to the garbage guy, hey, what if I could show you a way to make $1,000 in an hour? Would you be interested?
Right. That just sounds like a scam off the top. But like when you're desperate for money, you're gonna be open to that opportunity, or at least hearing more. Like, oh, what do you mean? Oh, well, we have these meetings where we discuss financial freedom, financial independence, and if you just put in the hard work, you too can be, a financial broker. And I've made 200K the last year, and I can show you how to make it too. Like if you hear that and you're struggling for money, you're gonna be like, yeah, let me hear more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll probably show up to a meeting and listen to whatever BS they're telling everyone. But at the end of the day, very few people make money with this stuff. Like, you ever hear that company Mary Kay?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so Mary Kay, they sell cosmetics through a direct marketing model, and they're consultants. They're called beauty consultants. They can make income by directly selling to people in their community, and they receive a commission when they recruit others to begin selling under their distribution network. And Mary Kay consultants, they have to purchase $100 starter kit to qualify. So
Oh
right
wow.
off the bat, they got to spend $100. And the thing is, Mary Kay, they release very few details about the average income of their sellers. But
Right.
I found some numbers online here, and it says, okay, the average consultant in 1 year makes it $1,057.14. So you're making like $1,000 a year on average. So your average Mary Kay rep is only making $1,000 a year. So it's like, where is the dream? Where is the get rich quick element here? These people are making peanuts.
Yeah, they prey off of desperate people, like people who, they can't find a job by traditional means, or their job is just low paying. And then, they rope them in with the positive self help talk. You can be a millionaire, the selling them the dreams. And then, they get in, they take a little $100, and then what I'm saying, they don't care if the person dropped out because they already got that money, and they already got their contacts.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's like, okay, they paid their $100. Now on to the next, unsuspecting person who's going to pay 100 to get involved. And then it's just like you're just churning through new people over and over and over, just trying to get that same initial money or get those same initial warm market clients, like the friends and the families of the new recruits.
Yeah, it was a lot easier to do this stuff before the internet because you couldn't really just go to a source where a bunch of other people were in this and they told you their experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
like when we were coming up, there was no Reddit. So like
right,
if I want to vet a company or a person that's big, and I go and I type in like, okay, Primerica Reddit, I'm gonna see like all these horror stories about, oh, I made no money, I was lied to, I was sold a dream. You're gonna see all this stuff right off the bat. So then when that your quote mentor is like, oh, come to a meeting, you're gonna be like, nah, buddy, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. But like I got involved with Primerica at 18, and clearly, back then, I'm 37 now, there was no Reddit, so I had no way of really doing much research on the company other than like Better Business Bureau or things like that.
Right. And all of these companies are sales jobs, and they're just the selling the dream part is like they're telling you you could become a millionaire, but really they're gonna become a millionaire because they're eating off of your sales. They're getting commit like percentages off of your sales. So um
Yeah, it's like we're talking before about Amway. Like, sure, the top 1% are making, they're pulling in like 80 grand a year, but your average person is only making $200 a month.
exactly. So most people are not gonna make a living off of that, but like you mentioned, the churn is how the top people they're earning all the revenue, whereas they already got the built-in excuses for if you fail, like, oh yeah, you're just not grinding hard enough, so
And yeah, it's always the same lines like, oh, you don't want it bad enough, you're not trying hard enough. And it's really, no, it's just like the market is saturated where you are because we've already sold these products to everyone and there's no one left to buy these products.
exactly. And the real products, the really good stuff is going to be in a store somewhere. They don't need somebody to like pull up to their house and say, hey, you want to get some of this. It's kind of like, you remember, like, I don't know if you ever came across it, but they used to sell like it's like a truck, but they sell like steaks and stuff, like
I remember
that's,
that. Yeah, I remember that.
or like speakers in a van. Like they say, oh yeah, I got these speakers. You want them? They're these great speakers at this low price. Like it, to me, it just seems sketchy. You know what I mean? If you want a good steak, you're just gonna go to the store and get it from the butcher. So
Exactly.
why would they sell these ultra high quality products door to door to door?
Yeah, like you said, if something's going to be of high quality, it's probably going to be in a store that you would go to, or these days, I guess it would be on Amazon and it would have positive 5-star reviews on it.
Exactly. And kind of speaking of a similar matter, like these companies they take advantage of desperate people. So like when people get unemployed, um, and it's hard for them to survive, people end up doing things they normally wouldn't do. So they might fall into multi-level marketing. Some might work, like a low-paying job. Like when you were in unemployed, what were some of the things you had to do?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, most recently I was delivering Chinese food for this local place, and I wasn't really making much. It was off the books, so they didn't have to pay me, 15 an hour minimum wage. They were paying me $10 an hour plus tips, but they weren't reimbursing me for gas. So like pretty quickly I realized like I'm really not making much money with this company.
Yeah, you're pretty much delivering the food for them for free because they're putting wear and tear on your car. You're paying gas. You're using time up. You're probably making realistically like $4 an hour or something, or even less when you account for all the wear and tear on your car.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. I remember I got into one of the last days I was there. I got sideswiped on my way back to the Chinese parking lot, and I ended up using the money from the sideswipe to quit that job and to kind of coast for a little bit because I got like a $5,000 or $6,000 check from they looked at the auto body and they're like, all right, that's like a $5,000 6,000 job. So I just took the cash and kind of lived off the cash for a little while.
Right. Yeah, like like I had to drive Uber Eats for a little bit, like in between jobs. And I actually like really enjoyed that job, but like it doesn't pay enough to be sustainable because, like you mentioned, gas, oil changes, wear and tear, all of these kind of things. So Uber and even a restaurant, they're the ones who's really getting ahead and benefiting.
Yeah, exactly. So like now, I'm doing drum session work. Like if there's a band that needs tracks recorded for their demo or for their album, I'll come in and record those. I charge $200 per track plus studio costs, and then I also teach lessons, and I charge 80 an hour for the lessons, and I go to the people's homes for that.
Yeah, I mean that to me that's a smart thing. If you're gonna put in all of this sales work and you utilize your resources, might as well be for your own business because at the end of the day, you're gonna be the one that really benefits off of it. But get into when you need cash immediately, that's when you fall into these traps that these kind of predatory companies have for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I'm going from making $10 an hour, but it's more like probably like $5 an hour when you factor in the wear and tear on the car and the gas money. And now I'm making $80 an hour when I teach. So it's, I've fallen into a much better financial situation. But like you said, everyone has times where they're unemployed or they're in between jobs. You got to do stuff like drive Uber or Uber Eats or Lyft or, different stuff like that. Different stuff like that.
Yeah, for you to get to that point of teaching drum lessons, you have to put in your work. You have to create a website, advertise, different things of that nature. It didn't just like happen out of the blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's not an overnight thing. Like I have a Google business listing page. It's called Suffolk County Drum Lessons with Brian Russick. So I put the Suffolk County in there for SEO reasons. Because it's like if someone types into their browser drum lessons Suffolk County, I'm going to come up because I have Suffolk County in the name of the business. So, I mean, and I knew to do that from doing SEO on websites in the past. But, yeah, it took a little while. It took at least a couple of weeks, couple months to start to build up reviews. Now I have 10 reviews, 10 5-star ratings on there. But, some of my competitors have like 30 reviews or 90 reviews, like Guitar Center or School of Rock, places like this. Like, so I'm competing, at a high level with these other competitors. But yeah, it's not overnight. You got to really, if it's your own business, you got to put in the legwork. You got to get up early, and you just got to keep pushing forward.
Right. And even with this podcast, I've been doing this for a couple of years and it hasn't quote unquote blown up yet. But like, if it does, people is only gonna see the fact that it blew up. They're not gonna see the years of effort, the years of all the equipment invested, trying different things, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you think about someone like a Tiger Woods or a Michael Jordan. It's like Michael Jordan was not Michael Jordan from day one. He had to practice, free throws like over and over and over and practice in the rain and practice through injuries. And like, you don't see any of that. You see the incredible basketball star Michael Jordan dunking the ball, shooting threes. You see that, but you don't see all the hard work that went into cultivating that person.
I think he got cut from his either high school, I think his high school team. Then, he just like really utilized that to fuel his efforts going forward. So yeah, like you say, you don't see the hustle, the work, like all of the times where all the pain, the sweat, the tears. You just see the highlight reel, and you're like, oh, I want that. But people think that you don't have to put the effort in. They just want to walk into the highlight reel. That's where these MLM and other kind of predators. That's where they come in and get you. They sell you the dream and tell you you can get it without putting in the work.
Exactly. Yeah, they sell you the dream. They say, "Oh, you can get rich quick if you follow my lead. If I'll show you what to do. You're going to become a millionaire." And it's like you said earlier. It's like, okay, well, so my drum teacher is showing me Primerica. If Primerica is so profitable, why are you still teaching drums, man? Like, where does that add up?
Exactly. Like, you would just be living life, enjoying life, and okay, you would be teaching probably drum lessons for free because you're so rich that you're just doing it out of passion. You wouldn't need to be making a living doing this. So, you know,
Exactly.
if it's almost like you're walking down a city street and some guy approaches you, hey, what if I could show you X, Y, and Z? You would look at that as a scam, but since this has a company backing, you're like, oh man, maybe this is legit. But if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Be ready to put in hard work to get anywhere, really.
Yeah, and I guess the problem is like the people who are saying this to you, typically their friends or family, they're like, oh, what if I could show you a business opportunity that would pay you, $10,000 a month or something like that? And you're like, okay, great, where do I sign up? Because it's like it's your brother telling you, or it's your
Right.
cousin, or it's your best friend. And, whoever these people are, they got roped in and now they're trying to rope you in, and that's just kind of what they do. They churn through people, churn through different groups, churn through different markets to where there's just at some point no business left. There's just no business left to prospect at a certain point.
Exactly. And when you tell people like, hey, everybody can't do it, like, programming, everybody can't become a programmer. Like if because at a certain point, once it gets oversaturated, you're gonna be competing against people who really love what they're doing. And if they're spending hours studying and you hate programming, they're gonna get the job and you're gonna be like left in the dust. You know what I mean? So
And that was exactly my situation. I did not like programming at all. I was doing it purely for money. And then when I finally, after interning for like 6 to 9 months and then finally getting my first coding job, I hated it and it was stressful. And I started drinking again during this time. And it was just all bad, all bad. So it's like, yeah, not everyone is cut out to be a programmer. Some people really should not be programmers, especially if you can't deal with, sitting in front of a computer for 8 or 9 hours a day. Like I have back issues from an old car accident. I got to lay down a lot. And, with these jobs, you got to be on the ball.
exactly. When you try to tell people a lot of this stuff, they be like, oh, you're hating or you're just trying to gatekeep. I'm telling you the truth. Like me, I don't have any real sales skills like that. So I would be stupid to try to take a sales job because that's not my forte. Or, like my degree is in accounting, but I find out, oh, I hated accounting. Would never be a good accountant because I can barely read 5 pages of accounting material. So why keep wasting my time going down this futile path? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you, Kevin. I hear you.
Man, the truth is kind of harsh, man, initially, but like the sooner you hear it, that allows you to make a better choice quicker.
Well, I hope from this podcast we're able to just, bring attention to these MLMs, these multi-level marketing companies like Primerica, Amway, Herbalife, World Financial Group, Cutco Knives. These are all MLMs, and you should stay far away from them.
Yeah, I mean, just be prepared to work hard if you want any real sustained success. There's no magical formula or secret course you can take that's going to make you millions overnight. If there was, a company would just automate that process and make millions for themselves.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin.
But yeah, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll catch